Hello and welcome to Realm's Edge Gaming. In this episode we're going to take a look at the latest issue of White Dwarf, number 465. If you've not already subscribed to the channel, if you could consider doing so, that would be absolutely fantastic. We're going to be having a look at the kind of flip-throughs of the latest issues of White Dwarf, and really talking about what articles there are. And as always, if there's anything you'd like me to kind of go over a bit more or kind of focus on, I'm more than happy to do so if you just drop me a message below. So straight away we've got this lovely front cover of Mortarion from the Death Guard. And yeah, some really nice colours there, really striking. I must admit I like the kind of White Dwarf that's on sale on the newsstands as well. It's got the Sons of Behemat, which links in really nicely with the Siege of Excelsis, which is our current kind of flashpoint that we're focusing upon. So it kind of goes on to say about the Tomb Keepers. We've got some spare transfers that come in the magazine, as well as a poster for Darktide, I believe. And then we've got our kind of usual suspects. So we've got the Flashpoint series for both AOS 40k. We've got some articles on the Tome Keepers. We've got the Cursed City. We've got Golden Demon and a Tale of 4 Warlords as well. Let's move on to our contact page. I really like the Dankhold Trogoth that's been painted here. Really striking colours there with the kind of pale colour scheme and then with the luminescent blues. Super effective. Sounds like a Pokemon game, that. We've got the Ogre Moor tribes there, which looks great. We've got the Fetid Bloat Drone. And if you are an Ossiarch player, we've got the Null Myriad along with a kind of paint palette scheme there that might be of use for you. We've also got a bit more information about the transfer sheets as well. So some really striking models. I always think the models that are sent in for contact are really strong. And I have to admit, this one, Selenar, this diorama is my favourite this month because that's just beautiful. I just think the way it's been painted is actually really interesting as well because they've gone for kind of a more of a monochromatic scheme, and then with this kind of greenish ethereal glow, just looks absolutely brilliant. And there's a bit more kind of information how the person has gone about creating the diorama. Interesting to see that Teclis has been omitted from it. But yeah, a really striking model there and a great base too. For Ask Grumbrindle, they ask who would win between Gotrek and Grumbrindle. I think in a drinking contest and also a fight. Apparently a fight would be close, but Grumbrindle believes that he would emerge the victor in a drinking competition, as Gotrek can now only drink 4 barrels of ale. Got a nice dryad there, Branch Witch. And then we move on to Worlds of Warhammer. So in this article, Phil Kelly kind of goes past and through previous crusades, some of which made me feel quite old because I am old enough to remember them now. So we've got the Storm of Chaos back for Warhammer Fantasy, the Fall of Medusa 5. What else have we got? We've got the Malign Portents. Yeah, just a kind of a real nice memory trip through down memory lane, I guess. Some really nice kind of memories there about previous campaigns that have been. And I'm sure in the future, the kind of Broken Realms one will go down in history as well. So here we've got our 40k section, and there's, you know, a variety of articles. We've got the Sharadon sector. Galactic War Zones is an ongoing series of articles showing you how to build and paint 40k armies based around the planets on which they live and fight. This month we're in the Sharadon sector. Got the Ferric Blight, some nice models as well. Always good for inspiration, I find. You know, regardless of whether you paint 40k or Age of Sigmar, I think there's always something here that's quite striking, isn't it? For kind of for everyone, whether that's conversions or whatever the case may be. Here we've got some Death Guard, how to paint them. I like this in the different kind of ways. We've got Battle Ready and then Parade Ready. And then we've got the kind of Fecund ones, which is kind of another, I guess, chapter of the Death Guard, and goes into a bit more detail there, along with basing too. So this Sharadon Warzone is all about, it's a mid-oceanic gantry of the water world of Fathom. And we've got some special rules that we can use. I think there's even there's a mission there that you can kind of have a go at as well. And then this is where we get onto the Tome Keepers, where we learn a little bit more about them. Crusade relics, psychic fortitudes, a whole host of rules and things that you can use. There's even a name generator, which I thought was a kind of really nice touch there as well, and some striking artwork too. It goes on how to write a story, if you wanted to write a story about a chapter, and then even presents its own. Some nice artwork. I think I've said this before. I really like how they have the artwork matched up with the narrative as well, to give it a little bit more depth. And then we've got, Echoes of the Warp. On this episode, or in this kind of article, James Gallagher goes us to talk about the Crusade system. Some more rules there that you can use. Mission packs. I thought this was really cool as well. So we've got illustrator Scott says, has an unusual hobby. He takes pictures of people's Warhammer models and then adds digital effects. And it kind of gives a bit of a breakdown into his thought process. And he also does some with the editor Lyle's models as well. We've got a black coach coming up. Some really atmospheric ones here. And there's the black coach. And how he goes about doing it as well. So if that's something that you fancy trying, if you've got the kind of, the software to do so, this might be of interest to you. But I have to be honest, I just thought it was a really kind of nice touch, something a little bit different, and it was interesting too. And then we move on to our Age of Sigmar. This is the Broken Realms Flashpoint series, and it really focuses on the latest Broken Realms, the Kragnos one, and basically gives us a whole kind of a lot more depth into the sellswords of Excelsis. Try saying that after you've had a drink. It's all about how the Ogre tribes and the Gargants kind of interact with the siege on Excelsis. It mentions about Skragrot and Gordrak as well. And loads of kind of narrative stories too, which is kind of interesting. I really like how they kind of match up the rules alongside there. We've got some cardboard war scrolls here for Durko Walrus Biter and Glotter Bulk. It reminds me of the previous White Dwarf where we had the Photanax and the Bloodthirster as well. And then we move on to the actual kind of battle plans which they give you as well for reenacting the whole siege of Excelsis. We've got Holding the Breach, Betrayal at the Walls, Fire at the Docks, The Secrets of Excelsis. And I think that's a really kind of nice touch there. We've got an Anvil of Destruction now. So this is all kind of focusing on the Ogre tribes and Sons of Behemoth. How you could go about personalising any models that you've got to give them a bit more character. Loads of rules. Some more scrolls. And then we move on to a tale of 4 warlords. It says here, the mortal realms are in turmoil following the Shaiish necroquake, and the dominion of countless lands hangs in the balance. As the forces of death and destruction run rampant, the warlords of order and chaos set their sights on conquest. We've got the Hedonites of Slaanesh, Cities of Sigmar, Slaves to Darkness, and the Lumineth Realm Lords. Here we go, so these are different armies taking place. Some nice scenery there. And the players' kind of thoughts as well. Next in the rules of engagement, we've got focus on the creation, design and evolution of the rules. Here we're highlighting the biggest battle tome updates in Broken Realms Kragnos. Going into a little bit more depth for the different factions that are featured. So now we move on to our Golden Demon. Got some beautifully painted models. Again, as I kind of mentioned, I think this kind of falls in the same category as, you know, if there's, even if it's not kind of your gaming system, I just think there's so much kind of characterful posing and colour schemes you could use this in kind of inspiration, conversions and things like that. In Path to Victory, we're looking at the two newest warbands, the Crimson Court and Headcracker's Mob. Some beautiful figures there. Some different kind of tactics that you can employ to get the most out of your warbands. And then we move on to the Hostiles of the Cursed City. It's strange that they're still kind of doing articles on this. I think people's initial kind of consternation about the whole thing seems to have died down a bit. But it is slightly odd that they are still doing articles on the Cursed City, even though that won't be kind of getting a reboot. And then we move on to the Black Library Sagas of the Realms. I thought this was really cool. It's basically how to kind of read the story, in which order to kind of get the best from the narrative. Oh, it was a really, really nice touch. And if you're kind of just getting started into Black Library, I guess it can kind of seem overwhelming. This was a nice way of kind of easing into it. So that was really cool. Fangorn Unleashed, we're looking at the Middle Earth there. Some ideas, tactics, and lore. And then the Chronicles of the Wanderer, the final instalment. As the Age of Myth draws to a close and the Age of Chaos reigns, the Maker faces many tough decisions. Will he intervene in the salvation of his people, or will he see them face hardship alone? Perhaps the future of the Dwarden race rests in the hands of another. So I've really enjoyed doing this series, and yeah, it'll be a shame to see it kind of come to a conclusion. There we go. And then inside the studio, we've got some models that have been painted up, before finally concluding with Hobby Bingo and next issue, Flashpoint Octarius. So this is issue 465, and I really hope that you've enjoyed the flick through there and are looking forward to either purchasing it yourself or, you know, finding out about some of the other articles as well. As I said, if there's anything you want me to go into a bit more depth, please drop me a comment below. I'm more than happy to do so. But what did you think of this issue? Is it one that you're going to be picking up, or are you going to maybe leave this one for now? Thanks very much for joining me. I really enjoy your company on these videos. It's great chatting with you all in the comments below. Yeah, really looking forward to speaking with you. Thanks very much, and I'm sure we'll speak soon. Goodbye.